Hello, welcome to Levant TV Headlines. The Islamic State group is banning private internet access in its Syrian bastion Raqqa, forcing residents and even its own fighters to use internet cafes where they can be monitored. An explosion has killed at least 20 people and injured scores of others in the southeastern Turkish city of Suruç near the Syrian border. Iraqi security officials say that militants from the Islamic State group have blown up a sports stadium in Iraq's western Anbar province. And local fighters and army units backed by Yemen's exiled government have taken control of Tawahi, the last district of central Aden still held by the Houthi militias and its allies. And Iran's Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif has criticized the United States and Israel for not taking the threat of military action against Tehran off the table following the landmark nuclear deal between Iran and world powers. And now let's have a look at the top headlines in international papers. Starting from the UAE, the Khalij Times leads reporting that at least 45 civilians were killed on Sunday when Houthi rebels bombarded Yemen's second city of Aden, where Saudi-backed pro-government forces have made gains against the insurgents. The paper also reports that Prime Minister David Cameron says Britain needs to take a greater role in destroying the Daesh group in Syria, his most direct signal to date that he will seek to expand his country's role in supporting the United States and its allies. The Egypt Independent is reporting that police at Cairo's main train station arrested 4 young people for allegedly taking selfies while making a pro-Muslim Brotherhood gesture. The paper also reports that Egypt has taken delivery of 3 Rafale fighter jets from France, the first of 24 warplanes sold in €5.2 billion deal earlier this year. From Beirut, the Daily Star leads reporting that state prosecutor Samir Hammoud said Lebanese authorities were looking into all possibilities to explain the disappearance of the 5 Czech nationals and a Lebanese driver who went missing in the Bekaa Valley over the weekend. The paper also reports that General Security Chief Major General Abbas Ibrahim denied reports that the Nusra Front had received a ransom payment in a deal to release the captive Lebanese servicemen who had been held since August last year. Now let's take a look at the top Middle East headlines from papers here in London. In The Guardian, an article on the Home Secretary Theresa May, who has refused to rule out sending ground troops to fight Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, but says whatever action the government feels is necessary will have to have parliamentary backing. Pressed on whether they could ultimately lead to troops and tanks on the ground in Syria, Theresa May said, "I'm not saying it's one thing or the other. What I'm saying is that we know that we do need to do more." The Telegraph is reporting that 5 near-simultaneous explosions in Gaza on Sunday targeted members of the armed branch of Hamas. There was no claim of responsibility, but speculation immediately centered on supporters of ISIS who have been battling with Hamas and other Islamic groups in the small coastal strip, and witnesses said a freshly painted Islamic State group flag was seen at the site of the explosions. The Independent leads reporting in its Middle East news section that hundreds of Yazidi boys abducted by ISIS are being forced to practice beheading techniques on dolls as part of their re-education. The radicalization program is part of ISIS' plan to create the next generation of extremists in the vast swathes of territory it controls in Syria and northern Iraq as well. Now let's take a look at the top Middle East headlines in international papers. From China, the Global Times reports that Iran's foreign ministry has dismissed visiting German Vice-Chancellor Sigmar Gabriel's call for Iran to recognize Israel. Gabriel, who is also Germany's economy minister, said if Iran wants to establish closer economic ties with Germany and other Western powers, it should improve its relationship with the Jewish state. The International New York Times reports that Houthi rebels fighters fired rockets towards the southern city of Aden on Sunday, killing at least 43 people in a residential neighborhood, health and military officials said, and the attack came 2 days after the exiled Yemeni government, which is supported by Saudi Arabia and opposes the Houthis, declared that Aden had been liberated after the Houthis and their allies were driven from several districts. That was it for today's headlines. For more updates, please visit levant.tv. Thanks for watching. Be sure to join us again tomorrow, and bye for now.